Alright, welcome everybody to another tutorial from me, Kelsey, aka Phantom, and today in Photoshop we're just going to do a simple text effect. So go up to File, New, and then let's go to Web, and this is fine, 640 by 480 RGB. Hit OK. My computer takes a little while longer to load everything when I have the camera software running, so I'm sure the moment I click on the type tool it's going to take a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the type tool, and it looks like it might be ready right away. Yay! Let's just click once and it gives you the cursor, little typey type thing. So let's type out, let's see, Oracle. Which is a cool word of the moment. If you hold down Control T, it gives you these transform brackets. You want to hold down Shift and drag on the corner. Holding down Shift enables you to create it proportionally. All your resizes happen in proportion. If I don't hold down Shift, then it gets all skewed, which you do not want to do in design unless you need it for a specific purpose, but that's very rare. So let's do it all in proportion. Pull that out here. I'm going to hit Enter to commit to that. And now you'll see I have my default pointer tool selected. I can now drag this and kind of drop it in the middle. So I've got these two layers, background and my Oracle text. Let's change the background color to something like a medium gray. So let's go over to the paint bucket tool, then click on your foreground color. Click a gray right about there. Hit OK, and then just drop that in the background. So now we have a nice gray background and a solid black type. Now we're going to work with the type. So let's go ahead and go into the effects panel. Go ahead and click on blending options. It's going to pull up this window here. Now say you don't want this black. You can go down to color overlay, click on that. It's going to give it this kind of weird salmon-y orange red tomato color. Let's go ahead and click on that color node, and let's say we want it to be a bright yellow, which might not be a good design choice, but just for the purposes of this lesson. Hit OK. Alright, starting from the top, I want to kind of show you what options we have for text. If you click on drop shadow, it will give you a default setting, and drop shadows can tend to be overused, but if you just use them to make subtle highlights, then you're golden, you're fine. And this is perfect. I'm not even going to touch this. You can, if you want to, you can change the direction of the sunlight, the direction of the shadow, and as you can see, depending on where the sun is, that's where it casts the shadow. And if you hold down Alt, see, I don't like those changes, so I want to reset it without closing this window and stepping back once. So if you hold down Alt, you can see this button goes reset. You can hit reset. The only thing is it also got rid of my color overlay, so let's go back and do that again. So go up here, yellow, all the way to the corner, drop shadow, bam. Okay, perfect. Inner shadow adds a inner shadow to the type itself. So if we click on that, you can see what it's done. It makes it look like it's kind of a weird look, because we have a drop shadow showing the text is hovering, but we also have an inner shadow showing the text is within the background itself, so it looks kind of funky. I'm going to turn off inner shadow, but again, you can mess with all the options in here. You can make it do something kind of trippy like this. You can change the size of the drop shadow or the inner shadow. Alright, so I'm just going to turn this one off. Outer glow, if you don't want to have a drop shadow or you want to add the outer glow effect, you can click on that and you can see by default it's white. If you click on that node, you can change it to the complementary color to yellow. I believe it's green. I could be totally fail in that. If I am, I apologize. Let's see, I think blue would look nice actually. So select blue. Under outer glow, it automatically puts it under the blend mode of screen, and screen lightens everything. Just want to turn it to normal, and there you can see it's giving me that glow. I can click on the size thing here, and once it's highlighted, I can scroll up with my mouse wheel to add this glow, but I want it to be more subtle. And let's actually say I want it to be a completely different color than blue. Let's see what a red looks like. Red looks really nice. I could do a darker yellow. to give it a kind of subtle glow. Let's do somewhere in between. Let's do like this kind of orange. There we go. Makes it look really warm. Inner glow will do the exact same thing outer glow did, but just on the inside of the type itself. And as you can see, let's do something drastic. This. Change the blend mode to screen or to normal, and you can see if I were to increase the size, it's kind of doing the same thing, but that really looks ugly with what we're doing. Bevel and Emboss does just what it sounds like. Let's click that. It gives the type an even more depth now. It looks like it's sitting there in 3D, which is awesome. You can go into this and really make some differences. Actually, let's not click on contour yet. Go into Bevel and Emboss, and up here under Style, we have Inner Bevel. Look at what Outer Bevel does, and that kind of makes it look like it's been hammered in from the bottom. Let's go back to Inner Bevel. Technique, go to Chisel Hard, and you can see now it looks even more defined. And you can change the size to where it looks like it's actually carved out of metal. You can soften it a bit if you don't want it to be so intense. Just a slight soften. You can change the direction, down or up. Let's stick with this. These here are more advanced settings. I never really mess with these. You can see what a different contour will do though. These kind of, ooh, that's really nice. I'm going to keep that one. I like the gloss contour. Let's remember that. Each one kind of shades it differently. Okay, but we're going to do the gloss contour. That was really nice. This one right here. Okay. Next, let's check out gradient overlay. Now, gradient overlay only works if color overlay is turned off. The two can't work together, even though they can both be on at the same time. If we turn off color overlay, the gradient overlay is automatically present now. Don't worry, it's still saved, so if you want to keep it, we can turn it back on. But let's say we want to mess with this a bit more. Let's go into the gradient, and let's choose maybe something from the funky default ones that Photoshop gives you. Let's say we want to make this look like it's copper. Well, we have a default named copper, which is in your Photoshop things. If you go to under presets and you go to metals, you click it, and then it'll say load metals, and you just click append. Anyway, let's click OK. Now you can change, by default, this is how it's being applied to make it look like copper. And you can look at this and you can see all the different points they set in here to show you each color picker gives a gradient color for that area. So this is like the dark copper, light pink almost, darker copper, and then light pink again. So that's why you see it right here. So let's click OK. And then under the style you can change it to different styles. Like this is radial. So you can see what it's doing here. Angle. I don't ever really use angle. Reflected. Now that's really cool, especially if you're doing like a steel texture. And diamond, which starts from the middle. You can always see it's opposite by hitting reverse. Let's go back to linear. You can turn off align by layer, and you can actually click and drag your your gradient. God, sorry. Let's click back on align with layer, and then you can also adjust the scale. So I like that. Maybe not so much. Maybe back a little bit. Okay, let's keep that. Okay, so we've got this gradient overlay. We can turn that off, and we can turn on pattern overlay. Now, pattern overlay is something you can do to make it even stand out even more. See, I just clicked here on my little, I don't even know what this is called, but it adds this total look of stone to this. I'm kind of sick of this orange glow right now. I'm going to turn that off. So this looks really nice. I've got this gray background with the drop shadow. And if we kind of look at this from afar, this is made for the web, so this is only 72 dots per inch. If this were made with 300 dots per inch for print, you'd be able to see this even better. But right now that looks great. One final thing, let's go back into blending options, and then if you go down to see, these all kind of overwhelm or overdo one another. If we were to turn on stroke, it adds this black outline, and that's pretty large. Even one doesn't necessarily look like it goes very well with the general theme, so let's turn that off. I think we've accomplished what we wanted to do, which was just to create an interesting type thing. But I'm believing that we should turn this up till it's really dark, and maybe increase the distance by a couple, maybe just one, increase the size by a couple. Hit OK. Now we've got this really dynamic stone looking text that took 10 minutes. Not even, we were just experimenting. We can change the background color. I just hit X to switch between foreground and background. So now I have white. And I'm going to make sure I have background selected and select white. White doesn't look too good. You can't really tell the drop shadows there. It kind of melts away. Let's see what a light pink would look like. Well, you know, whatever. I think that like a light gray is actually going to look best. Yeah, it really does. Awesome. So that's just a simple text typography tool. The whole point was just to show you that this blending options panel, the effects, is your friend. Mess with it, you'll find amazing things you can do. It's really quite fun. And I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me on the forums here. And thank you very much.